All right, and welcome to the Mustard Seed Buying Company's book reviews. First book review that I think I'm going to publish, which is good because I think that it's a good one. It's a good one to start with. I bought. My family left this weekend. Today is Sunday. Today's Monday. My family left this weekend. I bought on Friday. I ordered the Illuminatus Trilogy, which features the books The Eye in the Pyramid, The Golden Apple, and Leviathan. It's by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. Can't tell you much about Robert Shea. I looked up his author profile and clicked on. I want to read some of the other stories, so I clicked on those. But I'm a big fan of Robert Anton Wilson, and as this book seems to largely be influenced by the themes and motifs that he talks about in his other books, I'm going to assume that Robert Anton Wilson was a major driver to this novel. I don't know any of the history of this. I don't know any of the history of it. Can't tell you much about it. I just know that this is Robert Anton Wilson, like Psychology 101. That was my butt. Those were my shorts. Congratulations on seeing that. Having listened to his Cosmic Trigger, which I would recommend that you listen to, and his Prometheus Rising, which is maybe a single shot, one size fits best all of his theology. No, I think probably Cosmic Trigger is, or his worldview. Yeah, this book represents that. Listen to the audiobook of this last year, and while I could kind of follow along with it, I was trying to. I struggled. The book does feature a bunch of white guys having sex with women throughout the entire book. Hagbard Celine. Hagbard Celine. Wow, you'd think for a book that I read for the last 3 days, I'd remember that. He's a character that you do. His personage gets stuck into your head or gets introduced into your mind quickly, but the rest of the characters kind of float together, and they don't do anything with them, for almost the entire book, almost the entire trilogy. So that's, it doesn't get easier, but I will say that listening to the audiobook made it infinitely more difficult to understand this than just reading it. Sitting down this week and reading it on the other side of it, enjoyed it significantly more. So we'll say if this is something that you're interested in, if you want to get into the Illuminatus trilogy, know that it's going to be a work through because it's going to be something that you have to sit down and read. And the reason for that is that it is a very open stream of consciousness novel. Wilson is clearly trying to emulate Ulysses, James Joyce's Ulysses here. Sorry. Which is this open consciousness epic. Haven't read it. I've read some of James Joyce's other novels, but I've yet to get to Ulysses. I know that one of the major central viewpoints in Illuminatus, or one of the theses in Illuminatus, and one of the reasons that he takes the Ulysses route, and he talks about it in Cosmic Trigger and Prometheus Rising, is that he thinks that James Joyce intuited a bunch of the psychic understanding of the universe, and sort of the Jungian subconscious archetypes and symbols, and he says every page of Ulysses is filled with that stuff. So I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna read Ulysses. It's up there, but I kind of, what did I read? Red Dubliners and something else. A portrait. I read Dubliners. I know I read Dubliners for sure this year, and decided that I'll get to it. But regardless, Wilson, big fan of Joyce. So are a lot of Jungians, actually. Most Jungians are a big fan of Joyce. So don't know what that's all about. They must have met up. There's probably some history there that I'm missing. But yeah, this Illuminatus book is written in that sort of open stream of consciousness. So even if you do buy it and read it, difficult book. It's a difficult book. I'm gonna be really honest with you. It's a difficult book. I'm gonna say it over and over and over again. There are times where you're gonna have to do that thing. If you don't have this trick as a reader, you're not a good reader. I don't mean it as a rude thing. Like, you need this trick where you just keep going. Like, you just fuck it. You just keep going. You just, context be damned. You just keep going. If you can't do that, you're not going to make it through books. I know that reading comprehension is so important, but there are times where he's given you three pieces of the puzzle, and you're not going to get pieces of the puzzle in Eye of the Pyramid until the Golden Apple. I would say by the time the Golden Apple is on the second book, the vast majority of the worldview and the theology and the sort of psychology and the politicization of the book, the political direction of the book, the spirit of the book. By the end of the second book, you've got it, and then you're just waiting for the resolution. And the Leviathan is the weakest part of the trilogy. It's definitely a Revenge of the Jedi, or Return of the Jedi, because it kind of just falls apart. It doesn't fall apart. It's just not as good as the first two. But anyway, the Eye of the Pyramid, the Golden Apple, Leviathan. It's a story about these disappearances and these explosions. When the detectives arrive at the building, they find a bunch of notes on the Illuminati, and it goes through all this history of the Illuminati being this grand conspiracy. And it leads these gentlemen to meet sort of these global players who are inside of these machines, but Hagbard Celine being the big one. And it's isn't great for its conspiracy stuff. There is a lot in here that you're going to go, oh, yeah. They do just kind of throw it at you, and we'll go through some of that. But I wouldn't say that, like, if you're looking to get an accurate representation of the world, this isn't going to be the book to read. If you're looking at how to formulate, develop, and mature your own worldview, your own reality tunnel, this is one of the books that's going to kind of help you. Wilson is an author that's going to kind of help you. He has his foibles, he has his shortcomings. We'll talk about all of that as we get through it. But he is one of those authors who I think stretches your mind, stretches your ability to manage and create your own reality tunnel. That I think he's super important, super underrated, and goes that route that a lot of sci-fi authors did in the last century, that kind of challenges your grip on reality, but he does so without asking you to join a cult or religion. He's asking you to be an anarchist, actually, for the most part. But yeah, I'm not going to spoil the trilogy. We're going to talk about some things. I'm going to read quotes. Got a handful of quotes here, so we're just going to go through those one at a time. If you want to take a look at my annotations, you can see that the first book, I have annotations on almost every page. Not really, but quite a few. The second book, there's a lot less. And then by the time we hit that third book, I only have one there, and that's actually just a bookmark. Just because by that point, there's very little that he was saying that I feel like wasn't just moving the plot forward and was kind of still that first interesting tidbit. We'll say that if you are interested in this, this is probably one of the most hyper-sex novels I've ever read in my life. I don't know if this is just how novels were written in the 60s and 70s, but there's a lot of sex in this. Wilson was a Playboy writer. That might be part of it. But they are sucking and fucking the entire time in this book. So just know that if that's not your style, don't read it. Don't read it. Don't expose yourself to it. If you are a seeker, if you are a mind stretcher, if you are a psychonaut, if you are a person who has to just see, this is for you. If you are a choir girl, this is not for you. It's that simple. So we'll leave it there. I'm gonna read some quotes, and we'll see how we do. We'll see if I can do this in a cohesive manner, or if I should just cut this part of the video off. Ooh. Ooh. He committed the heresy, they say, of imminentizing the Christian Eschaton. He's committed the heresy, they say, of imminentizing the Christian Eschaton. This is William Buckley in the National Review talking about who is this? Some saint, Fraldoshino. Joachim of Flori. Anyway, imminentizing the Eschaton means pushing the science, the history, and the tradition of the Jewish and Christian faiths forward. It's a big topic online right now. Professor Jang talks about it a lot. We see it in Sean Ryan videos. You see it in Tucker Carlson videos. Imminentizing the Eschaton is a topic that is so big right now because there's war in Israel, there's war in Iran, there's war in the Middle East, there's war in Russia, there's war all over the planet right now. And our president's, sucking and fucking a gold calf. I already said it once, so I'm going to say it again because this video is not going to get monetized. Anyway. So, yeah. Imminentizing the Eschaton is what this is all about. He says that James Bond was killed, Ian Fleming was killed because he revealed too much about the secret Illuminati Bavarian organization. There are periods of history when the visions of madmen and dope fiends are a better guide to reality than the common sense interpretation of data available to the so-called normal mind. This is one such period, if you haven't noticed already. I'm going to say it again. There are periods of history when the visions of madmen and dope fiends are a better guide to reality than the common sense interpretation of data available to the so-called normal mind. This is one such period, if you haven't noticed already. Ooh. Way it'll make me feel. He took amphetamine pep pills to keep going on his grueling 24-hour day, with the result that his vision of the world was somewhat skewed in a paranoid direction, and he took tranquilizers to keep from worrying too much, with the result that his detachment sometimes bordered on schizophrenia, but most of the time his innate shrewdness gave him a fingernail grip on reality. In short, he was much like the rulers of America and China. I personally resemble that statement. Ooh. The Illuminati were assassinating every popular political figure who might interfere with this program. You're both wrong, I said. Freedom won't come through love, and it won't come through force. It will come through the imagination. I just happen to like that one and agree with it. We should all be developing our imagination all the time. Are you developing your imagination? Why not? That's your willpower. So stupid. Yeah, that's it. Every man's skin is his own private multiverse, just like every man's home is supposed to be his castle. But all the multiverses are trying to merge to create a truth universe such as we have only imagined previously. Maybe it will be spiritual, like Zen or telepathy, or maybe it will be physical, like one great big gang fuck. But it has to happen. The creation of a universe and the one great opening to see itself at last. Shira! Every man's skin is his own private multiverse. I don't know that I think of it as the multiverse, but I do think that everybody is the center of the universe. And that's just one of the great tricks God's able to play. Tim Leary asked people to. So Tim Wilson, he's writing for Playboy. Something you got to know is all these guys were funded by the CIA. So Wilson's out here kind of trying to throw this conspiracy loop at you and kind of throw this like stuff, this interesting, fun game at you. The whole time he's idolizing John Dillinger, who I haven't researched, but John Dillinger and Tim Leary, two of the big people that he talks about and routinely worships throughout all of his novels, all of his books. Tim Leary, I'm pretty sure was an intelligence asset of the top order, and I'm starting to really think that John Dillinger was as well, because these men are in and out of prison constantly, breaking out, and that's part of the mythos for John Dillinger, but they're being arrested. They're being pulled in. Tim Leary, he's over in other countries, working all over the place. He's at Harvard. He's getting pulled in by the government, and then he's back out in the countries doing his work. The Tate brothers are the same thing, right? Right now, we're seeing it here in the U.S. The Tate brothers are the new Epsteins. They get arrested by the government. Everybody puts on this big show, but we're all fucking talking about them all the time. I'm not. I haven't talked about them, but they're all getting talked about all the time because they're all supposed to, like, they're creating influence. So they let these guys out. They send them back over to Thailand or wherever the fuck they're at, Romania. Um, Romania for the last few years. So we're going to see some action in Romania in the next few years. We'll see some expansion of war powers and things happening there as celebrities and people that the Tates have influenced into power. You know, that shit goes on. It goes on. But he idolizes a bunch of these guys. And at one point, Tim Leary ran for the governor of California. He asked that you paste the emblem on your front door to signify your membership in the party. This is the emblem of the triangle from the dollar bill. But Tim Leary and Illuminatus, he asks the question, and pasting the eye on the door, I can't help but think of the Hebrews marking their doorways with the blood of lambs, the angel of death would pass by their houses. That's just revelation of the method. Wilson's clearly just straight up telling you that you can use that to protect you. It made the secret they're hiding so fanatically that they're all some vast worldwide homosexual plot. I've heard showbiz people complain what they call the homo intern, a homo organization that tries to keep all the best jobs for other fruits. Not hating on the gays, but you know, what did we find out this year is that there's a big gay conspiracy of all these men. My original thought, and again, I'm not anti-gay. My original thought is that the original conspiracy is that society doesn't like gays because men would just leave and small tribes would collapse because the men would just leave and start having sex with each other. And that just became the most abhorrent thing of all time. And the men who remained and the women who remained just could not stand that. And so that's where that repulsion to homosexuality comes in. I know nothing. Ooh, experiment in applied schizophrenia. Experiment in applied schizophrenia. Put on them worldview lenses. Look through them reality tunnels. Experiment in applied schizophrenia. If you're not trying to change how you think, if you're not trying to change who you are, if you're not trying to change your worldview, your reality tunnel, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You got it figured out. A plus, I'm Bryce. I got my house. Got my job. I'm just cool, sitting on call sheet every night. Betting? No. You're fucking boring. You're boring. But we've been on one restriction kick after another for a couple thousand years now. The world's longest head trip, and it takes real negative entropy to shake up the foundations. This isn't shit. I've got a degree in mathematics, man. We're starting to get to that anarchism shit. They knew about the Illuminati Lodge, founded in Munich in 1923, and it controlled Wall Street and Hitler and Stalin through witchcraft. We got to get into witchcraft ourselves to undo the hex they cast in everybody's mind. All hail Discordia. Do you read me? One of the spoilers I will make about this book is that up is down and down is up. So everybody goes from good to bad to bad to good to bad. You see 30 different narratives about who the Illuminati are inside of 3 books. You see they're powerless, they're huge, they're small, they're all-knowing, they're omniscient, they can do whatever they want to do, they can't do anything. They're real, they're imaginary, their gods are real, their gods are imaginary, they're pro-capitalist, they're anti-capitalists, they're pro-faith, they're anti-faith, they're Christian, they're gay, they're Jew. All of it is here. And all of it's great because none of it's true, right? And that's kind of the thing that you need to take away from this is that you've got to figure it out. I mean, society right now does not want you to be a thinker. It doesn't want you to go down these rabbit tunnels. It doesn't want you to try to rely on the expertise. They want you to not be somebody who goes and questions things. And that's really sad because that's not the scientific method. But that's what's going on. Man, we're going to have to just keep on trucking. Their evil goal is to transcend materiality and to bring about the one world, just denying the sovereignty of nations and the sanctity of private property. Transhumanism. That's what we're talking about right now all the time when you go online. Your Honor, we speak the tongue of the Shakespeare of Milton of. Oh, I love this line. Your Honor, we speak the tongue of Shakespeare of Milton of Melville. Must we go on murdering it? Must we tear it away from its last umbilical connection with reality? Your Honor, we speak the tongue of Shakespeare of Milton of Melville. And we are the first generation to read none of them. List of assassinations. Targets for assassinations will be mavericks of the left or right who are either not part of the Illuminati conspiracy or have been marked as unreliable. At present, right, within the next few years, the Illuminati will have the American people under tighter surveillance than Hitler had the Germans, and the beauty of it is the majority of Americans will have been so frightened by Illuminati-backed terrorist incidents that they will beg to be controlled as a masochist begs for the whip. Woo! Woo! That's the Patriot Act. That's the flock cameras. That's this guy was written. This is 50 fucking years ago. We begged for it. He was right. We begged for it. An unfailing mark of Homo neophilius, the human race, is not divided into the irrational and irrational as some idealists think. All humans are irrational, but there are two different kinds of irrationality: those who love old ideas and hate and fear new ones, and those who despise old ideas and joyfully embrace new ones. Homo neophobus and Homo neophilius. Neophobus is the original human stock, the stock that hardly changed at all for the first 4 million years of human history. Neophilius is a creative mutation that has been popping up at regular intervals during the past million years, giving the race a little forward pushes, the kind you give a wheel to make it spin faster and faster. They have a meta self-review in the book. It's pretty funny. When you're dead, right? Energy can be neither created nor destroyed, said Hagbod. Death itself is an illusion. Now, that's a headspace. That's a head trip. The universe, like right there, your consciousness has to go somewhere. Science currently says that everything that you think, everything that you do, everything that you will is just a hallucination of automatic patterning because there's no space inside of the energy of the universe for you to be generating this stuff. This is of course where rationality falls apart, and why those atheists are just damned wrong. We are not robots hallucinating consciousness. We are consciousness hallucinating the robotic tendencies. The aneuristic delusion. This is it. This is what the rationalists feel. They really believe in law and order. As a matter of fact, since everybody in this crazy millennia-old battle has his own theory about what the Illuminati are really aiming at, I might as well tell you mine. I think they're all scientists, and they want to set up a scientific world government. The Jacobins were probably following precise Illuminati instructions when they sacked the churches in Paris and proclaimed the dawn of the age of reason. You know the story of the old man who was in the crowd when Louis XVI went to the guillotine and who shouted as the king's head fell, Jacques Desmoulins, thou art avenged. All the symbols that Desmoulins introduced in Masonry are scientific implements. The T-square, the triangle, even that pyramid that has caused so much bizarre speculation. And transhumanists definitely be trying to square shit that don't need to be squared. It's a bypass. Bypasses have to be built. What is this one? Won't find it quickly, so we're moving on. And those were all from the first book. And I've only got like a couple left. Prisons are built with the stones of law. Brothels are built with the bricks of religion. The hall boomed. That's a William Blake quote. Prisons are built with the stones of law. Brothels are built with the bricks of religion. Prisons are built with the stones of law. Brothels with the bricks of religion. That's some anarchy thought right there. You can't follow that one. It's too deep for you. I'm sorry. Shoo, shoo, shoo. The schizophrenia of authoritarianism exists both in the individual and in the whole society. I call this the snafu principle. The snafu principle is this like working thesis that people working in jobs that aren't being paid well, like inherently, intentionally mess things up, and that wives mess things up, and that because they're insubordinate to their husbands. It's just a fun little thing that he gets into inside of it. He goes into the tar baby principle. You are attached to what you attack. Look that one up. Apparently, tar baby is a racist term, so you can't say it. But you are attached to what you attack. I have a friend who is full on anti-trans. And, we can all have our own thoughts on um, how people want to live their lives and all of that. But he's so anti-trans that I worry about him. No, I don't worry about him because he's got it together. But there was a point where I was genuinely like, dude, you gotta. This can't be your fight because it's consuming you. Like who you are is I hate trans people. Um, J.K. Rowling gets into that. I think that's a psyop. She's doing somebody favors. Part of maintaining her billions is being an antagonist. But I worry about that. So yeah, that principle, that word that we're not supposed to say, tar baby, because it's racist, as all things are. Uh, you are what you hate, man. You are attached to what you hate, and you are what you hate. Um, that's some deep shit, man. I'll give it to you raw, Mama Sutra sweetly said quietly. The Earth has already been invaded from outer space. It is not some threat in the future for writers to play with. It happened long ago, 50 million years ago. The Uyghur, uh, not sound waves or radio waves and anything like that either, but think of them that way for a while. So a long time ago, we got attacked by these space beings that instilled doubt and values into us, and those are the things that made us sacrifice each other to these creatures. Um, yeah. Every religious leader in human history has been a member of the cult of the yellow sign, and their all efforts are all devoted to hoaxing, deluding, and enslaving the rest of us. Oh, a small, very deep thought, and that is my bookmark. So them's be the rubs. Them's be the thoughts that I pulled out of there. Um, Talk of imminentizing the Eschaton. This is one of the big themes in this book is that you can't. Stuff's going to happen. They're capable of all thought, all power, all presence. Um, there's a moment where someone's trying to prevent the assassination of JFK, and they realize that there are four other assassins there, and so his only option is to then, just do it himself and shoot the president himself. Um, uh, when we actually get to the culmination of the final events of the books, there's five different groups trying to do five different things. The whole thing is just kind of there to open you up to a lack of truth, the lack of truth that's available to us, and without getting into religion or anything like that, we do live in a world that is penetrated, permeated, and built um, uh, without being pessimistic, built on a foundation of words and ideas and understandings that don't encompass all of reality. So even if you're not cynical, even if nobody's being cynical, we still come so short to what reality is when we start describing it and when we start creating around it, and passing laws and building bureaucracies. Um, but I don't know where I was going with that. Um, but when you take, but when you add cynicism in, when you add deceit in, when you add in the sins of this world, you're left with you're left with this you're left with what we have, which is this world that you have. Like you have to be a conspiracy person to be even a little bit correct about anything. You have to be open-minded to be able to understand anything. You have to understand that our country, our national news media, our scientific establishments, our textbooks, our classes, our news programs, every single thing that we interact with on a daily basis is programming us. And even if all of it's altruistic, and I don't believe that it is, um, we're still fed so much misinformation. Rationalism has had to make so many corrections to its assumptions since its founding, 250 years ago, that it, it would be absurd if you took what like rationalist statements of reality to be back then and transported them to today. They would be further removed from what we know to be true than what the Christians were saying at that time. Does that make sense? Reality is constantly creeping closer to the myth. Our story is constantly creeping closer to things that we've heard and understand and what we've found to be true, intuited to be true, than what our scientific instruments initially gave us. That's not the way to think about it. Than what the Enlightenment originally gave us, um, because yeah, that's just what I think. That's just what I think. I think that this is a book that you should read. It's got a lot of sex in it, too much sex. Um, does not finish well, despite all the sex. Doesn't finish just like a man. Lacks It has a big cast, but it lacks diversity in its cast, and not diversity of skin color and sexuality, but just diversity of character. That would be a shortcoming in it, and it's difficult to read. But if you can manage to get through it, if you can manage to struggle with it, I think that you're left with an experience that is valuable, profound. You're left with a little bit of a magical lens to look through the world to understand how other people might see the world. Um, and most importantly, you're left with a malleability and flexibility inside of your own worldview, your own lensing, your own reality tunnel that's just imperative. It's imperative to perceiving truth. It's imperative to even questioning truth. If you can't question reality, then what are you doing? Anyway, that's my review. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It's not perfect, but it's one of the best things that I've read in the last few years. So, recommended.